YouTube, it's Brian Phillips. We got the 850 millimeter Ranger. This thing comes ready to fly. It's got everything you need except for the 4 AA's that go in the back. Yes, I've marked up notes all over this thing to help me remember what all the switches and buttons do. Camera crew, if you would, please hold this. We're gonna show you the startup procedure. We tried this the other day in the clouds and we had a little bit of trouble getting the GPS to pick it up. So we're hoping that we have better luck since it is clear skies today. Okay, so we're just gonna plug that in. Comes with a provided 850 milliamp Predator. That's a 2S pack, 25C. And this thing flew for a long time. I can't remember exactly how long, but it was long enough to matter. Okay, then we're gonna turn this thing off or turn it on. We're gonna look for the green light and then let's look at the front. There should be a white light.
Flashing.
It's flashing, so it's looking for the GPS. And I have it in auto level, which should be the automatic mode. It's on the upper right hand. So once it finds it, then it's gonna go solid. And that's gonna tell us that it knows the GPS coordinates. Now, the only problem is we laid it down there. In fact, oh, there it found it. Okay, cool.
There you go.
So now keep in mind, return to home doesn't mean land there. It means fly up there. So we'll taxi out and take off. Okay, so there's 3 modes. There's auto leveling, off, and then stabilized only. They call it optimized. So it's like safe, off, and then AS3X. Okay, throttle here, rudder here. Oh, actually we're not seeing any response yet. So I wonder if you have to wait for it a little bit longer yet.
Oh, it didn't do the light went solid, but the elevator didn't dance.
Yep, it didn't dance. So it must have found the GPS signal, but it's not done yet. And how long is it supposed to take?
It said it could take up to 40 seconds the first time, which this I think is technically the first time.
It's the first time that the GPS has actually found the plane. So the reason we're showing you this whole process is because it's a little bit ambiguous. If you read the instructions, it tells you what's gonna happen, but watching it happen is kind of nice. That flashing light on the front of the cowl is where you're gonna be able to tell that things are happening. Now, if it doesn't pair right away to your transmitter, then you can press and hold this and it'll pair. So I don't know if we give it a couple more seconds. We were paired, so maybe I go ahead and pair it.
It's been like a minute.
Yeah, okay, so I'm gonna press this and hold it. Okay, so it beeped. Okay, so now we have everything paired up. So you can see the solid light now. Now you can see the, okay, so we're connected, I believe. Or are we? Can't tell any response, so I'm gonna try this again. There we go. So here's a flashing light, now it's a solid light. Ooh, now we're working. Okay. See how that elevator's not moving yet? Stabilizer's off. Just kind of waiting a second. There we go. Now it's good. Now it found it. So it found the GPS, and then we have 3 modes of action. So elevator, rudder, and ailerons. All right, so we're in auto leveling, full throttle, and there you have it, guys. She's flying, that's 40% throttle there. Man, that thing looks good.
Yeah, it does.
So now, I do think it's a little bit strange. Did you hear the beep?
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if that's a geofence. So I don't think I'm in auto leveling. Let's try it. No. Definitely not in auto leveling right now. There's that switch is supposed to switch between the modes. So now watch this. I'm gonna press that button, it's supposed to come back home. So I press this button momentarily, and now it's supposed to go home. Now I don't know if it's just circling or if that's, yeah, I think that was just panic. So maybe we just have to hit the geofence for it to turn back home. I'm driving it back now. The thing flies phenomenal. Say so far, our only issue with this plane has been trying to get the GPS to do what we expect. Why don't we go over by the bowl there, camera crew? But look how sweet that looks. brushless motor, very good rudder authority, very good roll authority. That's 60% throttle coming uphill toward us, full speed pass. Sorry, camera crew, should have warned you. It'll do acrobatic or aerobatics. Not that that's necessarily what you're after with this plane. So I heard another beep. So now let's just go ahead and do the old trusty try. I'm gonna fly this way. I know that I'm heading away from us at about 75% throttle, and I'm in just the top setting on this switch, which doesn't seem to be having any impact. At 120 meters, it should turn around. Okay? Guarantee you we're over 120 meters, right?
I would think so. Was that you?
Nope, I just put it into a bank because
Okay.
I wanted to verify what direction I was going.
Yep.
That's 450 feet, right? Or 120 times 3. So 460 feet, or 360 feet rather. Impressive little airplane though. Let's do a landing here.
Okay.
There's no flaps on this thing, but the funny thing is it'll slow down with the best of them. Very easy flying, high wing design without any dihedral, and it still behaves like it's got a ton of it. Now, my one issue is I'm gonna press and hold this for 3 seconds. Hey, do you see that? That pulsed. That's the first time we've seen that. Remember how I said it was gonna pulse? Okay, so we're gonna try this now. So that's either panic or return home. And I think at this point, I just pressed it once. It's loitering. See, it's like doing figure 8s. Okay, now I'm gonna break that pattern. I'm gonna fly back over here. Just fly down the runway here. Panic. Look at that. It goes up, gives it throttle, and then tries to circle. Okay, now I broke that by moving the sticks. So if you're going along, no throttle, panic button, and look at that. It pulls up, gives throttle, and goes in a circle. See, I'm literally doing nothing right now. It's not just auto leveling it, it's flying it, which is very weird. Okay, so I'm gonna just break that pattern. See, as soon as I break it, I maintain control now. Now I'm gonna go, there's 3 different modes. This is supposed to be just optimized, meaning stabilization. But it's so calm right now, we just don't really have anything to stabilize. And then I'm gonna go to the auto leveling, and as you can see, it's not really auto leveling anything. So I'm not sure what the deal is, but I can tell you this, the panic button works. Boy, that thing is gorgeous.
That's very cool.
It's just a really relaxing flyer for me, and I think for a new pilot it would be fairly easy. I don't like the GPS being confusing. Okay, so let's land it. Okay. Okay, throttle's at 0. It's still going though. Okay, so let's go find it.
Okay.
Okay, so we're walking up to it, and you can see that the plane, the prop has stopped. I did think that was a little bit strange because as I went off the driveway there, the runway, if you will, it decided to stop running the prop, which is good. So I'm gonna press and hold this again. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and try to fly. Man, that thing flies so good. Okay, we'll just go down the runway here. Even grass hops, guys, look at this. Unintentional grass hops, no less. Okay, so one thing about this, if you can carefully hold that, we noticed that our wheel popped out on us yesterday or the day before when we were doing this in the cloudy weather, and it did that again. Now there is no throttle cut on this, so you got to be a little bit careful with where you have your hands relative to the prop. And you see that's just steel under there, so we can bend that back straight, no problem. Otherwise, the plane's been very resilient. It's just a really easygoing plane. We've been flying for a long time too. Just trying to slow it down for you to show you how well it handles in the slow. Whoa, almost stalled it there. But you can see I was going pretty dang slow by the time that happened. Very good and controllable plane. Now I'm not sure why the auto leveling didn't decide to work for us on this one, but it did work for us on other ones. Let's go to the side of the runway so we can take off. Okay, perfect. We'll try again. Guys, you'll notice I'm going toward the house. This is a very tight quarters flight and absolutely no problems. I'm not giving it full control authority either. I'm pretty much flying in a very small area here, folks. And look how good it's doing. We almost never fly on this part of the yard, do we? Mm-mm. So very fond of this type of flying, very low, very close to the ground. Very fun. Now there is a warning when you run out of battery, but it's pretty abrupt. So just be aware. When it does run out of battery, it pretty much happens right away. You don't happen to know what that beep is, do you?
I don't.
Because I've heard it a number of times.
Mm-hmm. And I can't tie it to anything consistently.
Me neither. Let's see if we can do a stall turn. Had to cheat a little bit to do that. Oh, that was crazy. Probably ground down the wing a little bit. But as you can see, guys, this thing is just rock solid flyer. It almost doesn't need stabilization just because it flies so dang good.
I really like the color scheme.
Yep.
Especially for a new pilot. If it's easy for me to differentiate top and bottom on film, then like...
And what she's talking about is this. You've got this big pattern on top, and then you've got the distinguished pattern on the bottom.
Yep.
And so you can definitely see the difference when you're flying. Now, I can definitely say that I've had a couple of rough landings on it, not namely going into the grass. And I can say also there's no throttle hold, so you got to be a little bit careful when you're doing your work on your plane. So I just bent that nose gear back a little bit. Also, if you have to hand launch this thing, it should be no problem. This is the switch that I'm switching here. And I'm not sure, I'm not seeing stabilization. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna press and hold this 2, 3, 4. I'm gonna go way long. Now it's stabilizing, okay? So I don't know, and you can tell just how calm it is out here because it's not doing anything funny. Okay, so it's still not auto leveling, but it is stabilizing now. So the first 2 times we flew it, we had that on, no problem. But we did not pick up on GPS satellites because it was so cloudy. And I think that was our problem. But man, look how good it flies. I'm the first one to say, don't depend on GPS because I don't trust that sort of thing. I mean, in terms of stabilization really helps for new pilots, sorry. But in terms of auto leveling, that's a great utility. But it shouldn't and doesn't depend on GPS. And you could do this for probably conservatively 15 minutes on a good day. And depending on how aerobatic you get with it, you may have to take a minute or two off of that. The battery does get a little bit warm. 25C is all it is. It's got a JST end on it, so you could pretty much sacrifice the battery that comes with it. And then when you get that thing used up, you could get a 1000 milliamp hour 2S 30C pack of a little bit higher caliber, and you wouldn't see that it would warm up like this one does. But I mean, just look how stinking beautiful that thing is.
I would think you'd be getting close.
It's got to be getting close. I'm gonna go up here and try the panic button again. Panic? Jeez, that was quite the panic. Panic. See, it pulls up and then it kind of goes in a circle, okay? Panic. So all that's happening is, so no matter what direction you're going, okay? Panic. It just continues the heading, then it goes up, and then it stalls and goes into a slow turn left or right. And it's 40%. It's supposed to be going 40 kilometers an hour. So what it does is, see, it gets in that higher alpha configuration. It is auto leveling the thing. Okay, so now I'm gonna interrupt it with the sticks, and then I'm in control now. But the thing just flies so good. I love the airframe. It's very light. It's about 360 grams, which is about 100 grams heavier than I had hoped it would be, because then you'd be out of the drone registry stuff. But it's really not that big a deal. If you're flying airplanes like we are, you're already involved with that anyway. But it would be nice to have a plane that basically wouldn't require that. But I think we'd lose. This is an 850 millimeter plane, so you'd be a lot smaller if you're gonna try to be out of the 250 size class there.
This is a good size.
It's a great size. It's really easy to pack up in the car, really easy to take where you wanna go. The thing has enough power to fly in the wind, but it's also definitely not lame, because you can do all the aerobatic things you wanna do. The one complaint I have with this and any plane that has GPS is that they try to simplify it to the point where you can operate it with one push button. And I'm sorry, it just doesn't work usually. I have the same complaint with other manufacturers. I wanted to show a hand launch. Now, this plane can be hand launched a number of different ways. I would say the safest way for most people is gonna be an underhand launch. But honestly, on a plane like this, especially a high wing, you can get your hand here, just don't get caught on the gear. So I'll show you how I would do it. And just throw it. It's so easy to throw, you know? So if you're flying off of grass, now just keep in mind when you come in to land it, I'll show you how I would land it if I was intentionally landing it in grass. Just nose up and just plop it in. Don't worry if it flips over, because it's not gonna hurt anything. It's so light that you don't have to worry about that sort of thing. But what you do have to do is you have to plan on, when you come in to land it, don't land it like your wheels up, wheels down on the pavement, because then you are gonna have issues, okay? So let's try this again. See, it's still steering. I was a little bit nervous about that nose gear there, but I think it just went limp after we flipped it. Just look how sweet this thing is. It's just so fun to fly a plane that's easy like this. And there's something to be said, even as an experienced or a more experienced pilot, that you've got a plane that's easy to fly, that's fun to fly. There's our low voltage warning.
Yep.
Okay, so that, like I said, you don't get hardly any warning on this plane, but when it dies, and it's all in. So I'm gonna grab the plane. We'll just look at it for damage. You can stay there.
Okay.
It's a little wet out here. So see what happened to my nose gear? These are only 1.9 gram servos. If you can hold that for me. See how it's flipped? I'm just gonna point that back, and we're golden. I did notice that the nose gear was kind of giving me a little bit of issue, but honestly, I'm actually okay with this plane in so many different ways. We have just a little bit of a break in the plastic there. I don't think that's really a deal breaker for me, because watch this. It still works. It's just that the linkage is so light, you can pull it and basically it just goes whatever direction. So just to show you, I don't know if it'll taxi. It's probably going to be dead now, but oh yeah, we can taxi a little bit. Nah, not enough to pull it. So if you guys get this plane, here's my thoughts about it. My thoughts are, first of all, it's a beautiful looking plane. It's got amazingly good scale lines. Okay. Secondly, that isn't an LED, that's a GPS receiver. Okay. Thirdly, there is a white light on the front. It's just enough to get you where you need to be. Fourth, bottom load. That's a negative. I don't like that. The battery's warm. Okay. There's not much ventilation. There's a magnet that holds the front end of this on. They provide Velcro to stick the battery in. Look how small these servos are. They're just dinky, but they work. They just do the job. So I have no complaints there. No flaps, but you could easily add flaps to a plane like this if you don't mind having another receiver and another transmitter, because this thing is pretty much outfit with all the channels consumed from what I can tell. That being said, I love the scale lines. I love the way everything works. We did run into one problem too on the transmitter. And the problem we ran into is that I have a bit of a sticky spot on this gimbal, okay? Not uncommon in a ready to fly configuration, but just full disclosure, if you get your stick out and it's a little bit sticky, you may have to work it or do some white lithium grease in there and it will make it slide better. You can use another type of grease if you want to, but white lithium grease is nice because it'll last forever on that plastic. But all in all, I would say that this is a great option. Is it as good as, you know, some of the other ready to fly options that we've reviewed? I would say it's very much up there with the Horizon products that we've reviewed in the past. Is this better than the Mini Aero Scout? Absolutely. It's got the brushless motor, way better flying, 100% for sure. Better transmitter, better features, auto leveling, stabilization. It's better in every way. But is it better than the Mini Apprentice? No. But that's also a 1.2 meter plane. So it's got more room. It's got a little bit bigger, so a little easier to see. And I think the average Joe is going to appreciate and enjoy that slightly more. Now, that being said, it's more expensive. So you need to keep all that into consideration because this is a smaller plane. I think the 850 millimeter size is a class that is underserved. I think we need more planes in this size class because this helps to get people flying. If you go way smaller than this, you just can never fly because the wind is never this calm for a lot of people. Now, for us, we get this periodically and we love when it's dead calm like this, but we realize that a lot of people aren't gonna have that. So I think that this is an underserved size class, and I think FMS has done a phenomenal job on this plane. Definitely not perfect. You're gonna have some gripes, I would imagine, if it's anything like our experience with the GPS, but I don't care. The thing flies so good. I didn't even know it had GPS. I don't even want the GPS. I don't recommend you plan on using the GPS. The panic feature works well. And, you know, as far as I'm concerned, I really like it. Keep the GPS. I don't want it. I want everything else though, because everything else does a really good job. So I would say, hopefully, you know, you have good luck with this transmitter. It does have a lanyard clip. One thing I don't like about this transmitter additionally is just the size. It's for me, because we're doing reviews and I'm always holding the plane in weird situations like this, I could see that it would be easy to drop this thing because there's not a handle up at the top. And so the only way to hold it is to hold it like this, okay? So not a deal breaker by any means, but if you plan on using this for an extended period of time, I'd recommend that you put it on a lanyard because then you can let go of it and you can have your hands to address issues with the plane.
But so, if you're using it for a kid, maybe that's getting into the hobby, sometimes those smaller transmitters are nice for them. Yep. A big transmitter doesn't always fit in their hands. That's right. So. And we did experience that with the DX18 and my son, and especially the NX8 is a little bit smaller, but only just very, very marginally smaller than the DX18 that we were using previously and the DX8 before that. So I would say the DXS is a good size. It's kind of a happy medium between large and small. But I feel like this is not so small as some of the Batman controllers that we've seen in the past.
that really feel cheap. I don't feel like this thing feels cheap. It is kind of small for my taste. But if you see the ridges and bumps, it is easy to hold. It's comfortable in the hand. The gimbals are not especially long. Make sure you check those. They feel okay, but I didn't like the fact that I had a sticky spot on the right stick, which of course controls your aileron. So it's almost like you feel like you got a trimming issue, but it wasn't a trimming issue. Also, I don't know why the auto leveling didn't start. I'm not super like worried about it tonight because it's so calm. If you get that situation, unplug the battery, plug it back in, get it on its feet quick. One thing that's tough about a bottom loading plane is that you'll plug in your battery and then it's always hard to get it down on its gear quick because you have to physically flip it over and lay it down. So that's one complaint I could say about every single bottom loading plane that I've ever had. But that being said, they've done a really nice job of putting this airframe together. It fits, everything fits really nice. The servos are in good places. The CG is really easy to check. I feel like the battery is well sized for this plane. You're getting a good 10 to 15 minute flight time. There's so many checks that this plane checks off, so many boxes that it checks off, that I feel like it's definitely a winner. Now, is it the best plane ever? No. Is it as good as the Carbon Z Cessna 150T? Absolutely not. It's not. It's not even as long as the ailerons. So let's just be real, guys. You can't compare this just because, you know, we've done that big one there. It's not even in the same class, but it is every bit as beautiful. And that's what's really cool. So you can get a small, easier to fly package that's very inexpensive to get you in the air. And this is what we're all about on this channel, is we want to get you flying and we want to keep you flying, because remember, we're all about stopping one and dones on Brian Phillips RC. We want you to get a plane that's going to be manageable, that's not going to be overly expensive, that's going to scare you out of the hobby. Now remember, I'm not saying that in 6 years you're not going to be flying $1,000 planes. You probably will be. But right now, if this is what it takes to get you off of your chair and outside flying this little cool plane, then get this thing. I also like the Sport Cub, very good choice for beginners. The Sport Cub UMX, very good choice, but it's not gonna handle the wind like this. Plus it's got a brushed motor, and I flew the motors out of mine. Literally 7 motors, I think I went through that before I went to a brushless, and that required killing another plane to do that. So in this case, I think we have so many good choices for so many different people that are just getting back into the hobby. This would be a great way to start. That being said, this is a ready to fly, which means you're not going to need to have expensive transmitters and buy expensive chargers. And make no mistake, when you get serious about this and you start buying real chargers and you start buying real transmitters, you're going to be dropping like $1,000 to get a good transmitter and to get a good charger and to get a handful of batteries. You're in $1,000 for just those things. Now that might serve your entire fleet of 4 or 5 planes for your first couple of years, but you need to keep in mind, we want to make this point of entry as painless as possible for the average person. And once you buy this plane, you're going to realize how much you want to invest that $1,000 to fly 5 or 6 different planes for your first couple of years. You're going to love it so much, because you're going to be like going to work and you're going to be daydreaming about flying, and you're going to drive to work and you're going to look at the flags on the way home and you're like, all those flags are still, I want to go home and fly so bad. And it's crazy. You think I'm a nut right now, but wait till it happens to you. And then you'll be like, Brian, you were so right. You are reading my mind right now. And anybody who has been involved in this hobby knows exactly what I'm talking about. That being said, we're going to wrap this thing up. If you'd like to watch how we put this thing together, it was so easy, probably one of the easiest builds we've ever had. And yes, we do measure that in when we're checking our boxes at our head to say, hey, is this thing worth recommending or not? A big part of recommendations from us is how hard was it to build. That's why we beat up Dynam so bad. So yes, this little Ranger, definitely a winner, definitely high on the list in terms of marks. And I would definitely say that anything that has the FMS brand is gonna generally be a safe bet. Same thing with Horizon. Generally, they're gonna be good if they say FMS, if they say Horizon. There's some brands out there that just do a nice job. And so far, we've been really impressed with X-Fly. It's a new brand we've been working with, very impressed. And interestingly, we just really, really want to bring you the best so that you can make the most of your limited RC budget, and then you can be out there flying with us. So thanks for watching, guys. If you haven't already checked for the links in the video description to buy this plane for yourself, please do so when you buy from those links. When you follow those links, you'll be helping to support our channel by giving us clout with these manufacturers, and then also producing a little small commission when there are sales made. And then that helps to fund our channel. You don't have to pay us any more. You don't pay anything more for the plane. They pay us a small commission, so you pay nothing. And then if you don't like that concept, or if you don't like this plane, scroll down a little bit more. We've got tons of other choices. And then also there's Patreon and PayPal if you prefer to just go straight up with cash, which is always appreciated, but also we just think the best thing you could do is just buy a plane that you love and enjoy. Because really, why are we here? We're trying to spread the joy of the RC hobby. And we want to teach you guys how to get from where you are now to where you want to be in a few years. And I can tell you this right now. You're going to get a plane. Your first impression is going to be, I can't do that. Trust me, you can do it. It takes time, it takes patience, it takes some money, and it takes a lot of effort, but you can get there. Trust me, you can do it. It'll only take a couple of short years and you'll be darn near an expert, and you'll be flying pretty much any plane you want. I'm serious about that. If you're serious about that, you can do it too. I did it. I'm 6 years into this. It's not like I've been doing this for 30 years. So do it, follow the link, come back for more. Stay tuned and you can watch us put this together. Thanks for watching. YouTube, it's Brad Phillips. Look what we got here. FMS Ranger. Exciting. Guys, we just did a few planes that are similar to this, and I am excited to see this because this will be the first time we've ever done a ready to fly from FMS. We're actually quite excited to see how this goes. Oh yeah, look at that little 850 millimeter. I am quite excited about this. We are always looking for good choices for beginners. And it is fitting that it comes on the heels of another large Cessna 150 looking creature. I don't think this is technically a branded version, but it is definitely much like the Cessna 150. Okay, so let's talk about the overview real quick. This one is ready to fly. Boy, that looks nice. I really like the way it looks on the side. Okay, so it's got wing struts, main wing. Okay, it's only 4 1.9 gram servos. Are you kidding me? That's crazy. Those are dinky. But there again, 850 millimeters is pretty small. This thing must be like mostly built because this box is not very big.
That's my favorite.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna have to put some of it together.
Well, yeah, you're gonna put wings on and stuff for sure.
Well, I'm just really excited to see how it goes together because I've never seen, oh, there's a transmitter.
Oh, wow. That is very small.
Wowzers. Well, it feels nice actually. Definitely mode 2, which is what we want. Got buttons down here, button up here, clicker up here. Don't know what that all does, but we'll find out. Trimmers, and then a lanyard mount, believe it or not, which is crazy. 4 AA's. I've never seen their stuff, so I'm really excited. This is a mini F4 or mini 2.4 gigahertz F4.
The gimbals actually look really nice.
They are. They're a little bit small, but that's okay because sometimes when you're a kid learning to fly,
right,
a full-size transmitter is a problem.
That's true. It does say 0 flying experience necessary.
We'll see what that means. Okay, I already see some power cords and stuff, which is good. Okay, so we're gonna cut this open. Looks like a multi-purpose receiver board though. I can already tell that. All right. Pull out the boring stuff first, like the landing gear. They look really nice. Good and springy. Okay. Wing. Look at that detail. That is so cool. I'm really happy with the way this thing is finished out. It doesn't have flaps right now. Is that an LED? I can't tell.
Is that just where the...
Or is it just decorative? It's gotta be, it's an LED, I think. It's an LED. That's sweet. Okay, so big outboard ailerons. Looks like you could probably add flaps. Man, those servos are dinky. That's so cool. Okay, very light, very light. Let's see how strong it is. Gives a little bit, but it's not a heavy plane, so you're not gonna need that much strength. Oh my goodness. What the heck were they thinking? Okay, so we've got the manual. I hate it when manuals are folded. So we'll have that there. Hopefully we don't need it. Oh, more stuff. 6-channel transmitter, user guide. Okay, so it talks about the receiver. 4 AA's are needed. I don't see them yet, but they might be.
Boxes over
Might
there.
be in here. Let's get the fuse out first. Oh man, that feels so light.
Wow, it is really small.
That is really cool. Look how sweet. Oh, there's a light on the front.
That's
It's a brushless motor. Made in China. 2215 kV, 3850 or 3650. It's kind of hard to tell, so don't mean to mislead. Big heatsink on the multi-purpose receiver board. Looks like that is the ESC as well. And then elevator, channel 1, that's ailerons. Okay, so it's a Y cable. Then there is a rudder. Man, those are so small. Look at those things. They're dinky. We've seen some small servos. Okay, so that's elevator. And then this one's rudder. And it's labeled as rudder in channel 4. That is so nice. And then there's an additional port here. I would have to assume that that is a programming port, but it's possible. Oh, then they have an LED output here too. That is really cool. This is impressive. Really well built. It's like super solid. And I mean, everything is nice and square and true. I'm like really excited to see this thing fly. I can't imagine it being super powerhouse or anything.
But I love that the tail is assembled.
Nice.
For a beginner plane.
JST. Oh yeah. I didn't even think about that.
A lot of times we look at planes and you think they're good for beginners.
Magnet.
But like the assembly is challenging. So to have almost all assembled is really nice. Oh, the nose wheel is even in there. Cool.
Okay, so normally we have a break for the build, but it's just so simple. That is awesome. I'm really excited about this thing now. I thought for sure it was gonna be small. I knew it was gonna be small at 850 millimeters, but goodness gracious, those servos are dinky. Okay, so this is the AC power plug. So it comes with, I guess in North America, it's gonna come with an American plug. And then of course you've got the universal side there, which is really nice. I hate that everything is on USBs anymore because we have millions of USB chargers sitting around now. It's really annoying. Okay, here's the battery that's provided. All right, let's check this out. 850 milliamp 2S with a JST balance charge lead. This is a Predator. Man, that's a pretty battery. Look at that. It's all shiny and stuff. Okay, all right. Let's see what the charger looks like. That must have been the last box. So evidently, I'm not seeing any AA's in here. Oh, whoa, that was easy to lose.
Ooh, yeah.
At the bottom. This is how you hold your gear in. So we'll do that in a minute here. This is just empty, just packaging. Okay, so we'll stick that back in there. That's everything, I think. Let's verify before we open this box. That is everything.
Yeah.
Okay, so far, so good. Look at the piece count, guys.
Yeah.
Super low piece count. Very good to have a low piece count. Okay, this is definitely the charger. Okay, it looks like your standard run-of-the-mill 2S, 3S charger. And you can tell because we've got a 3S and a 2S balance charge plug there. And so this plugs in here. You don't have to really do anything. You just kind of plug it into the wall. Got a wall outlet here on the island. I like that it's labeled right there. You can hear it kind of making a squeal. Okay, so it's charging 2 cells right now. A little bit hard to get that plugged in. So it looks like the balance accuracy is 10 millivolts per cell, 1,000 milliamp hours of current. So this is an 850 milliamps, so you're a little bit over 1C. So like 1.1, 1.2 C. So we'll let that charge for a few minutes. Let's actually, we'll put it on the SBC battery checker first. We'll see what the charge was when we started. And then while we get things built, you guys can see kind of how long it takes to go. Okay, looks like we're about right at storage charge, just below. Did you get it? Mm-hmm. Okay, so 31% charge is what they call that on there. All right, there you go. So we'll let that charge. And this should be fine. This is obviously gonna work fine, but then, you know, in future charges, we'll use the smart chargers for that. And we have other batteries that'll work for that. But as you can see, we can use our XBC 100 battery checker, which is a great tool to have in your tool bag. And that'll tell you the balance and all sorts of good stuff. Plus you can use it as a servo tester if you want. Okay, so that's everything that was in that box. It's empty now.
The other box was the battery, right?
Yes, that was the LiPo.
Okay.
So basically it comes with everything you need except for the AA's in the transmitter. Now we've seen that with other brands, and I don't really hold it against them because AA's are so inexpensive, but it's not really everything you need because you do need to have AA's. And so in that case, let's go ahead and build this. Looks like we're gonna have to side cut that. And these are just protecting the tips, which is pretty cool. Okay, so let's slide those off. Really impressive, simple build. I love it. Guys, as many planes as we have, we really encourage simple builds, especially when it comes to beginner aircraft. Because if you set the bar too high, you leave the new person that doesn't know what they're doing to make a lot of mistakes. Now, that's why you watch Brian Phillips RC, so you can learn what mistakes not to make. So I'm gonna line these side cutters up and just kind of very carefully cut this. All right, there it is. That's a dinky zip tie. And we're gonna pull this out. I might actually sit down so I can see better. So now that we've cut that, I'm trying to understand what this other cable is actually. That's what I'm, okay, so this tells you what type of servo it is. It's a PR, a Predator 1.9 gram digital. That's crazy, they're digital servos. Okay, same thing here. Doesn't matter which one's which. And then this is probably to control the array of LEDs. Oh, sweet. Well, maybe there are LEDs inside of there. Or maybe there's a flight controller or something in here. Because there's definitely something up here. Look.
Right.
That thing is something. I don't know what it is. But it's this thing. This thing goes to it. I don't know what it is.
We could read the manual.
I don't know. That sounds pretty lame. All right, let's go ahead and build this then. We'll need a Phillips screwdriver, it looks like. They did not give us a Phillips screwdriver, which is fine because we have like 4,000 of them. So why don't we start with the landing gear? And they're already stuck in there, but I don't have the screw in. They stapled the zip tie, or they stapled the bag shut. I'm not really sure why they do that.
I don't know why they do that either.
It's kind of annoying because then you always got holes in your sack.
I know.
Nobody likes holes in their sack.
I'm gonna get you a screwdriver?
Yeah, that would be helpful. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna see if they are not identical. See, they've got a kind of a angle to them. Can you see that? So one of these is going to want to go on one side and then one probably on the other. So let's double check. It looks like they're universal. You just have to rotate them. Okay, so that's pretty simple. And then very, very small, but high quality Chinese screwdrivers will be needed. All right, so we'll pause and get the screwdriver and come right back. All right, so we got some AA's while we're off camera. 4 of them to be exact. Let's plop those in here real quick. Jeez, who's my quality assurance person?
Oh, jeez.
Look at that battery. Well, let's use it anyway.
That's what you get when you buy
These
high quality
These are
batteries.
the cheapest batteries you can actually buy on the planet Earth.
You really are. Trust me, I've looked.
These are so crappy. Oh my goodness. Where do we get these? They're like 4 milliamp hour.
Harbor Freight.
Harbor Freight. The cheapest. If you saw how many of these stupid AA's we went through, you'd understand. Yeah. Okay, so, well, once you, is there like a power toggle?
Switch.
There's this thing. Oh, there's a little light. There's a little light. See the light?
Oh.
It's flashing, but I don't know. Oh, there you go.
Hold. Do you have to hold?
Okay, so so I think that's off. All right, so the stick's down just to be on the safe side. Okay, so we have 4 screws ready to go. And here we go. So we were reading, as in the camera crew was reading, to avoid future embarrassment. So that wire that we were talking about right here is supposed to be a GPS and LED wire, I guess. And I'm like, what? There's a GPS in here? Are you kidding me?
What the book says.
So we'll find out. Maybe GPS stands for something different. Gopher pie special.
That's really what you could come up with?
That's, well, it's the only thing I could come up with that was allowed.
Oh. It's probably like game player something.
Okay, so there's 2 wires here. And I'm also noting that this wire here goes down to the servo. And you see how it's running along that linkage? That does make me more than just a little bit nervous. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna probably plop a little tape on there real quick, just to keep it out of the binding up that servo play.
Just regular tape?
Just regular tape. This thing might be sub 250 grams. We're gonna have to measure it.
We'll have to check.
If it's sub 250 grams, then it's small enough that you don't have to worry about the drone registry stuff. Not that it's really that big a deal. Okay, so that's tape, just to kind of keep it out of the way. All right, so this is gonna be the worst part. I can already tell it's gonna be a little bit of a tight squeeze. This is gonna be the weird one to plug in.
Where is that plugging in?
It plugs into this thing. I don't know which way it goes though, that's the problem. This is a pretty firm cable, so I'm gonna try going this way first. Okay, see I've got it kind of bent at that weird angle. I don't think that's it, okay? So I'm gonna go the other way. See, I'm just folding it on my finger, just so it can kind of be backward. And then that helps you to make your alignment. That does not feel like the right plug.
Do you wanna look at the
Is there a picture of it?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for showing me that ahead of time, cam crew.
You said you didn't want to read it. Bottom of page 4.
Plus and then minus. 3 and 1 integrated. Okay, so plus and minus. Well, like I don't know what's plus and what's minus. So I guess I'm just gonna have to guess still anyway. Oh, the pins go on the top. The pins are on the top, guys. I can tell. The pins go up because I can see the pins on the connector. Oh, there it goes. Got it. Okay, so it's plugged in. That wasn't too bad.
So pins up.
Pins up. And then these things are going to be for the ailerons. So you want to go color for color. So brown is down right now. So I'm going to rotate one or the other just so they line up. See the brown is down, brown is down. Okay. Same thing here. If you don't have any experience with this, the brown is the negative and then the red is positive, and then the yellow is signal. Okay, so there you go. So there's that. And now we should be able to, I usually like to give this a couple of twists. If I can get the wing struts to not be a problem, then I can twist this a couple of times. Now, why am I twisting this, camera crew?
To keep the wires tighty so they don't get caught in those servo linkages.
Yep, exactly. See that? It kind of makes a knot out of it. And then when you put this down,
it is.
No, it's better. It's a lot better. So now I'm just watching those wires and then just rock this thing in until it drops down. And now I'm going to slide these wing struts in first and then slide back. If I can get it to slip. There it goes. Okay.
Ooh, so there's no hardware on those?
Well, no. They're just slide in, and then slide back. Nice. Sweet. Then one big long screw. There is one extra screw for both the undercarriage clamps, and I have to support the bottom, otherwise my pressure is gonna squish the landing gear. This thing is light. That is really cool. I'm super excited about this. It looks super, super scale. And usually in this size class, you get the Horizon Hobby Ultra Micros. This is a little bit bigger than the Ultra Micros, just to be full disclosure. Those would be more like 500 millimeters maybe. But look how nice the lines are. That is really, really nice. I didn't know what to expect, and I'm super blown away with how nice this is. The prop is nice. The landing gear look really nice. The steerable nose gear looks nice, but we'll see how that works. It's got a yoke that goes on both sides. That's always good for strength. Plastic cowl, which is really nice. I like that it's flat so that it doesn't kind of like, you know, shiny so it looks different than this. And I just don't even understand, is there really a GPS on this? And if so, that's crazy. Okay, so now at this point we have to decide what we're doing next because the battery isn't charged yet. Let's go ahead and check and see how much progress we've made. We don't really intend to charge on this charger, but we want you to see that it does work. Okay, well, that's 65%. Okay, so in that case, I'm gonna hook this up and charge it a little bit quicker. It looks like the max C rating, this is a 25C pack. It doesn't say anything about how fast to charge. So I think I'll come right back with an adapter and show you what I'm gonna do. Okay, so I'm just gonna plug this into the smart charger for now because I want it to go faster because I wanna go out and fly it right now. So we'll plug that in. It's gonna come up with our voltage. And then I'm gonna plug in the balance lead because it's not a smart pack. Then I'm gonna go up to current, 1.3. I don't know if I wanna go 1.3 or more. Let's start it. So 1.3 amps is gonna be a little bit faster. I think I'm gonna be comfortable with 1700 would be 2C. Let's do that. So we'll go down to stop. Then we'll press this for menu, scroll up to that, press enter, and then move up. And then let's go down to start. Okay, so now this is gonna charge at about 2C, which would be twice 850 milliamps or 1700. 1.7 amps is 1700 milliamp hours. So as you can see, it's calculating how much is going in terms of milliamp hours, which is a rate, by the way. And then you can see that it's at 71%. And so it'll just count the milliamp hours so that you know how much is going in there. And really that's more helpful for when you're done flying. You can kind of tell, like on this pack, we can tell that 620 milliamp hours was forced into this pack, okay? This is a 1300 milliamp hour pack, okay? That one we were just charging from just a few minutes ago. Sorry about all the exposure issues. We were flying this helicopter and then we were charging, so. But anyway, this charger does work okay. It's just gonna take a little bit longer because you can't charge quite as quick. So not a big deal, but it definitely is a nice setup. It's a lot nicer than a lot of the ready to fly chargers that we see. And so we would recommend it. So we're gonna pause for now, clean things up, and then come right back when we're done. Okay, so we spent the last 10 minutes or so reading the manual, something we normally don't do, admittedly. And we labeled a bunch of stuff on this transmitter. I'm just gonna go over the quick overview. These are both power buttons. The lower left is your pair button. You don't have to pair every time. This is your return to home button. It's also how you cancel GPS function. Yes, that is a GPS chip. This thing has GPS, it has return to home. That's crazy. Also there's auto level, no stabilization or auto level, and then this is what they call optimized, which is also known as like stabilization. Okay, so it's going to, if the wind blows your wing down, then the ailerons are going to respond opposite so that it will stop that. If it tries to yaw your plane, Mother Nature, then it'll use the rudder to try to stop it. And if the elevator, if you get pushed up, it'll try to keep you level, or if you push down, it'll try to keep you level. That's in terms of stabilization. Now that's not going to allow you, you'll be able to fly straight down, but if the wind blows you like this, then it's going to try to keep you going straight, right? Because the receiver is aware of its position and it's aware of your input. If you give it input, it knows that you're giving it input, so it knows to expect change. So it's just like AS3X or Safe, but this is branded stuff. There's also trim, 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 trim. Obviously this is throttle, this is yaw for rudder, and then this is your return to home, which will act as panic in the event of turning off GPS. Now, if you fly 120 meters away in a circle, there's a geofence, if GPS is enabled, and it will turn around and fly back home. For the first 3 seconds, it points it towards you after pressing this button, it'll basically turn it around and point it towards you, but that's all it does. If it returns to home because of hitting a fence, then it goes in its circles at 40 kilometers an hour, right above where it took off from. That's my understanding. So now, I believe it when I see it. But at the same time, that's pretty impressive. So I'm kind of like in shock right now. Okay, so 50 millimeters back. I know that these things exist, but I've never seen them on such a clean package. So 40 to 50 millimeters back. That is going to be, for all intents and purposes, the beginning of that mark there. And then 50 is probably the end of it, or really close to it. You know what? That's what we're gonna say. The CG, this is the CG right here. And then this is the end of the CG here, okay? So let's just say that, guys, because it's pretty much, that's right.
Nice.
So also, we were reading, and about the time we got done reading, our battery got done charging. So really the only thing we've done here that deviates from the ready to fly package is the 4 AA's, which we use some extra crappy ones. And then also we put a little bit nicer charger to the battery just to make it a little bit quicker so we can get working. So that being said, this one is done. And if you were wondering, I did have to use an IC3 to JST adapter, okay? So that I could charge this on the smart pack or on the smart charger. That happens to be an S2200. We have links to all this stuff below. We'll obviously have a link to this too. So this is really cool and really exciting. So I don't know, we gotta weigh it. Let's check the weight too.
Okay.
Might as well go ahead and see if it's over 250 grams. If it's over 250 grams, then it's a regular plane. If it's under 250 grams, then that's really cool. Okay, so just a regular kitchen scale here. Remember, this is all up weight. So I'm just gonna hang this over the edge. I apologize, it might be kind of hard to see. Oh, why are we in ounces? Oh, 314 grams, talk about a miss. So if you took the landing gear off, maybe it'd be less. But you might be able to get away with a smaller battery too, because look, this battery is probably not so much. Yeah. So you're still gonna be over, even if it's empty, with no battery.
266
with no battery. Yeah, 265.
Yeah.
Okay, so that answers that question, which is fine, because honestly, it's probably going to be basically if you talk about the definition of a drone. So at this point, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and plop this battery in here, check the CG, but I'm not sure that we can even do this yet, because we kind of need to do it outside, don't we?
For the GPS.
For the GPS.
Part, I think we can still pair it though.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm a little bit reluctant on that.
I mean, we can go out.
Hey, I found something I don't like about this plane.
What?
The battery goes in on the bottom.
Oh, yeah.
Every plane that goes in on the bottom, it's always a pain. So I'm actually kind of curious if I could just wrap this Velcro around here. I hate sticking. I think that's what we're gonna do. Because the thing's on the bottom and it's a magnetically attached housing, I probably wanna err on the safe side. I don't want a battery coming out of here. I'd like to see a strap that hangs onto the battery. So we could do this 2 ways. The first way is we can make our own strap, which is possibly a way. I don't know if we're gonna have enough length to do this. Nope, we're not gonna have enough. We would have to have about doubly as long. So if we need doubly as long, then we can do this. See, like that. If you're wanting to do a strap, then this is how you can do it. Just take that, leave the backing on, and you can wrap that around. And then that way you'll have a strap instead. Might be kind of a pain to do that though. The camera crew, it's like crawling on the counter to get a shot for this. Yeah, so that's gonna look like crap. So you get the idea. You could do that if you wanted to, but I guess in this case, I'll make the rare exception that I will just go ahead and do some Velcro. And yes, I'm gonna minimize the amount of Velcro that I apply here. And I'm gonna put it on the side that doesn't cover up my measurements, like 850 milliamps, for instance. Goodness gracious. Overall, that build was probably one of the easiest we've ever done.
Yeah.
I mean, the worst part was reading the manual. I hate reading the manual.
Good thing you didn't actually read it.
Exactly. That's right. I agree. Good thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna plop this thing in there. We've obviously got that thing held by the Velcro. Feel like that's sturdy enough, and I'm gonna stick that wire. There's not really anything there. Okay, so I think we kind of need to plug it in.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to plug it in. I'm just a little nervous it's gonna search for GPS immediately. Well, let's find out. Because if it finds GPS, it pulses the motor twice. Oh, well, something just happened. This is probably gonna screw us up, I bet. The transmitter's off, so I think at this point, we are going to stop the video and go outside and try to get this thing set up. We're gonna go through that in the video, so don't worry guys, you've already seen it, so just go back to the beginning. This is the Ranger by FMS, 850 millimeter size, very cool, just barely over the 250 millimeter size, or 250 gram size. So it is gonna be subject to the drone registry, which is unfortunate. But if you like this thing even remotely, check the link in the video description below. We'll show you how to get your hands on your very own, and you'll be supporting our channel by buying it from the links below. So hopefully this thing is as awesome as I think it is. I already love the way it looks. Let's hope it flies decent. Guys, if you haven't already, give us a like. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you hate this plane and you want something else, scroll a little bit further down. We have thousands of videos on the channel here at Brian Phillips RC, and we really appreciate you being part of our team here and helping to support us by buying the things from the links. But if you really don't like this plane, or you don't want to buy this plane, or you're not adding to your fleet right now, we also have Patreon and PayPal available. For those of you who want to support us in that way, check the video description below. It's just a little bit further beyond this, and you'll see it right there. Oh, the light's solid. That's a little nervous. All right, guys, without further ado, come back for more. Thanks for watching. YouTube, it's Brian Phillips. We've got something new and exciting for you today. This is the Ranger, 850 millimeters by FMS. Very excited. It's ready to fly. And yes, I've got handwritten notes all over this thing because I don't even know how to use it. I'm not even sure how this works, but there is, believe it or not, a return to home and all sorts of goodies on this, and it's a legitimate GPS inside of this. Unfortunately, 360 grams. Oh, it's so close. It would have been under 250, it would have been awesome. But anyway, we're gonna put this on the runway and see what happens. This is our freshly refurbished runway, which you're probably thinking to yourself, refurbished? What do you mean, Brian? It's only like 2 years old. You're exactly right, it's only 2 years old. We filled the cracks. It was terrible. All right, guys, so I've made marks. There's a light, okay? You have to take my word for it. The camera crew and I are gonna do our best to communicate how to do this process, okay? Okay. It may already be paired. We have 4 AA's in there. Either one acts as power. This is a pair button. I don't believe we'll need to pair, but we're gonna turn it on. Everything that you need for this is in the box with the exception of the 4 AA's. The ailerons are locked up. I don't see anything moving.
It says it could take a few seconds, especially the first time.
Okay. They said up to 40 seconds after you've moved it from like wherever you were before, if it has to find a new GPS satellite.
Yep, or you're doing it for the very first time.
Yep, so if you turn it on inside on your kitchen counter, I'm wondering if there may be some interference, just so you know. Let's keep a camera on that.
Okay.
If it doesn't start right away, I'm gonna attempt to pair with the transmitter by pressing and holding this button. This is our return to home button, also known as, it turns around and points at you and then flies towards you. There's auto leveling, there's off, and then there's optimized, which is like stabilization. So it's like AS3X, nothing, and then safe, for those of you that are used to the Horizon lingo. We have trimmers on all the keys. It's kind of a small, I'm not a big fan of how small it is, but I think for kids it's gonna be awesome. Because, you know, when you're used to having a bigger transmitter, it does make a difference, but the gimbals feel really nice, okay? For being an inexpensive transmitter. I don't even know how inexpensive this thing is, to be honest. I bet it's actually got a lot of technology in it. But anyway, as you can see, nothing's happened. It's been, what, 30, 40 seconds?
Yeah, it's been almost a minute.
So we're gonna press and hold this. I heard a beep. Did you? Oh, whoa, look at that. So now that it's flashing, now it went slow. Okay, we're waiting for the motor to pulse twice. No, elevator went up.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so did it find GPS? I don't think it's ready yet.
I think, yep, so let's just wait.
So we have to wait a little bit longer. The reason we're showing you this whole process is because, to be perfectly frank, guys, this is something that's new for us, and we want you, it's dancing. I only heard one dance. Elevator up, elevator down, right or left, right or right, roll left, roll right. Okay, optimized. It looks like we've got the same amount of throw. I'm not sure if the GPS is gonna work or not, but we're gonna try it now. So we'll go ahead and get into position. That's the no edits, guys. That's exactly what it took for us to do that. We have a very light breeze coming like this. It's very light though, so I think we should be fine. So we'll go ahead and just take off this way. I'm not 100% sure if the GPS is working or not. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go into the optimize. So stabilization, we'll take off here. Oh yeah, very good yaw authority, very good. That looks so good. So just so you guys know, lots of yaw authority, way more than I expected. Very easy to fly. It's calm right now, full disclosure. Oh, that thing looks great. I'm at 40% throttle here. The thing just flies on rails, folks. Okay, now I'm gonna go into auto level. Okay, so here's auto level. I let go. Let's bring it back over here. I let go. Now let's slow down. See how slow it'll go. It's not really leveling. Now it's level. It's kind of weird, like the auto leveling, doesn't seem like it's auto leveling. Oh, you know why? I think my stick was stuck. Okay, so when I let go, it just kind of, you see it's just kind of doing its thing. It's really easy to fly though. It's just kind of a slow recovery to the last known position. My goodness, how easy was that?
Wow. Okay,
I'm gonna avoid this puddle. That is so good. The controls are really nice. Okay, so I'm gonna turn off the gyro just so you can see what it looks like here. Okay, so about 50% throttle on the takeoff here, guys. Look at this. 100%. That is so cool. Okay, so no gyro this time. 1.9 gram servos, folks. Look how solid this thing is. There's no stabilization, no leveling right now. This is just yours truly and the cheap ready to fly radio. I just heard a beep. I don't know what that means. Okay, full throttle. Just to show you the power. It's not super powerful, but that's okay. Okay, going back to leveling, auto leveling. Okay, here we go. So let's see what happens when we try to land it. I'm just gonna use just the yaw control. Okay, maybe not. So the auto leveling seems a little bit lacking. It definitely does level the craft, but I feel like it's trying to give me a lot of leeway. It's not hard to fly, it's just kind of like, I'm not sure I can trust it. Let's go up a little bit. I want to try this GPS. This is crazy. I don't even believe it. Oh, my gimbal's spinning off. Tighten those for yourself next time. Okay, I'm flying away from us on purpose. Oh man, I don't want to lose it in the cornfield. I heard a beep.
Did you turn it around?
I did.
Oh, okay.
I'm just thinking where I can go that I can, where's the best place to have to find it? 120 meters is a pretty long ways. I'm gonna try the return to home first. How about that?
Okay.
I'm gonna press the button. I did. So it's searching for the home position. There, now it's turning around, I think. Now it's kind of going the other way. Okay, so I'm gonna just come back over here. Get back over here. Okay, so I'm canceling that, I think, maybe. I'm gonna get out of the safe for auto leveling, and I'm just flying back at us. As you can see, full control, elevator up and down. Everything is flyable now. I'm not sure if that worked or not. I'm really kind of in question still. I wonder if it never actually found the GPS. Because you remember how it said it would pulse the motor twice?
No, the elevator.
The elevator?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's so much safer.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I can't believe they would pulse the motor like that. That's so weird. But guys, look how rock solid it is. I want to try to land on this 37-foot approach. You good? Mm-hmm. Okay, we're going to try that. Don't worry, we're not giving up on that GPS stuff. Look how good it is on ground handling.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm wondering if it never actually learned the GPS position. It beeped again. I think it's relearning its home position, maybe. I don't know. I'm going to take off again.
Okay.
I'm in stabilized or optimized now, not GPS. Okay, so let's go. Let's just see if we can hit the fence now. I want to go up a lot so that I have some leeway. You gonna zoom?
I am zoomed.
Oh man, I'm scared to death it's gonna fly away on me. I'm just kind of going in circles because if I totally lose signal, then I can run after. Whoa, that was weird. Okay, I have it in auto leveling. All right, I want to try something here. I'm going to turn it this way, like this, okay? So I'm just kind of yawing it away from me. Now, I'm going to press return to home. Let's see what happens this time. I'm just watching it. Like, come home, baby. Not that way. Get back over here. You've already hung out over there today. Okay, I don't trust it. Do you trust it?
Not really.
Not really. I don't feel like going back over there.
No.
Okay, guys. So I'm canceling that, which means I just took it out of the auto leveling mode. Anytime you move the stick, she'll wake it up, okay? Oh, it's so cool, that cloud.
Mm-hmm.
Woo. Let's do some upside down flight. Oh yeah, look at that. Very good, very good. Okay, let's bring it down and bring it under the power lines here. I'm just realizing I don't actually know how much battery we have. Being that's only an 850 milliamp hour 2S pack, I don't want to get too crazy. Boy, it looks nice though, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
It definitely is easy to fly. I definitely am scared to death of the 120 millimeter or 120 meter range. Because by the time you're 120 meters away, that's a long ways off. So this is the 850 millimeter Ranger by FMS, guys. You're probably thinking, you know, how does that compare to the Carbon Z Cessna 150T that you just did the other day? I'll tell you one thing, it was a lot easier to build.
Yep.
Boy, I really want to see, I want to see this thing work. I feel like the light, okay, so the light's supposed to be in a different condition depending on what you're in for what mode.
If you're out of GPS though.
Okay, so watch this. So it says we're in GPS. So I'm going to shut off GPS. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm just going a long time. You're supposed to hold it for 3 seconds, correct?
Yeah. So now change your mode.
So that's one, there's another, and there's another. I'm not seeing a change in state, are you?
No.
I don't think the GPS ever actually got initiated.
Should we read the book again?
Nah, let's not read the book again. Let's just unplug the battery and try it again. So we'll pause and do that.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
All right, so it's unplugged. Plug back in. Just kind of getting all the wires shoved down in there. I do not like the battery location. Okay, now we're gonna look at the front light, okay? Down. The elevator went up twice. Call me crazy. There's one dance, there's 2 dances. I'm in safe, that's intermediate, and that's optimized. I don't see a difference in light.
But you should be in GPS mode, right?
Hypothetically. Okay, so let's try it. Auto level still on. Okay, so we're gonna just fly around in a circle. Camera crew, right in the runway. Thank you. Perfect, right there. Okay, man, that thing just flies really, really effortlessly. Trying to do just a hair trim. Okay, so 120 meters. I don't even want to get that far. Let's just try it let's try it here. Let's go up a little bit so we're away from power lines and everything. Okay, return to home. Return to home. I let go of the stick.
It is coming back this direction.
Is it?
Oh, not now.
It's searching. Okay, I don't trust it, guys. I don't know if we didn't find GPS yet or what the deal is. It's very hard to tell what direction it's traveling once you get out there because it's silhouettes. Partly conditions. Conditions are saying that. Okay, I'm going to just optimize now. I want to see if I can go under the power lines from this spot. I don't think I can make it down that far. I'll have to go around like this. Man, this thing is forgiving flying. And I know some of you guys are probably thinking, yeah, it looks kind of lame because it's so forgiving. I would never ever say that about a plane because it flies good. I would say it flies good, so it makes for maybe not such an exciting video. But the thing is, when you're a beginner and you're trying to learn to fly, lame is what you want. Trust me, because I guarantee you, anybody who remembers flying for the first time, there is nothing lame about how tightly your butt cheeks are clenched together. When you are flying a plane for the first time, you are in command of that flying object, and you're thinking to yourself, oh my goodness, what if I run into my face? Or somebody else's face for that matter. Guys, look how great this thing flies. It's just amazing. So my only complaint is really a complaint with something I didn't even know was in this plane, and that is with the GPS. I'm not 100% sure we're doing anything wrong, but at the same time, I would say that it's not working fully. Now, do I care? Absolutely not. And I think that GPS return to home is one of the worst, most devastating features that you can have on a plane. Why?
Because you trust it. And
because people that don't know any better think it's gonna work, and look where they'd be hanging out.
Yeah.
They'd be hanging out. You know what? I think I need to learn home here. That's what I'm doing now. Woo! Worst landing yet. Okay, so check this out. I'm gonna learn my home position. Check this out. Return to home. That's home. Now let's try this. By the way, we've been flying a long time on this one battery. Now check this out. I may have never actually told it where home was. They never, to our defense, they never told us where to do it. Okay, so I'm in auto leveling, okay? Now check this out. Return to home. Come here. I'm not touching the sticks intentionally, okay? Is it like eventually gonna get back? See, I think it's in circle mode. Okay, so I'm canceling that by using the sticks, and it's very challenging to bring it back because now I can't see very good. And that's what I'm thinking about, that from the perspective of the new pilot. You know, I have enough skill to be able to bring it back, no problem, but even no problem, it's still kind of challenging.
But if you're counting on that because you lose your orientation,
you're gonna be
and then
screwed.
You push that button, yeah.
You know, unless that's panic. Maybe that's just panic we're seeing. Let's see panic here. There's panic. Oh my goodness. Ooh. That's like more like instant stall.
But you...
Okay, watch panic. Panic. You know, that's not a terrible panic mode. Look, panic. It pulls up. Panic. I think it's panicking. It's never gone home. It's just panicking.
So we don't have the
We
GPS,
aren't in GPS mode, guys. That's got to be what's going on. That was a Tony Beats landing right there. Any of you guys that watch Gold Rush, especially if your name is Tony Beats.
Tony Beats, if you're watching.
If you're watching, that would be kind of cool.
That would be super cool.
That would be.
I'm kind of curious at this point if we're going to get some sort of like low voltage.
I know, that's kind of what I'm thinking about now too. We've been flying for a long time, folks.
Yeah.
I can tell you this, Ooh, warning. Gosh, we are just very, very presumptuous. We literally both thought the same thing within seconds. We are in tune with you, FMS model. Okay, so what have we learned from this? First of all, that thing's not crashed. I know it's flat back there, so let's go check it out. Second of all, GPS is not initiated. I don't know what it could be that it's too cloudy.
It's possible. It is.
Show the people the clouds.
It is very oh, they've been seeing the clouds because it's super hard to see.
Oh, you're talking about out there?
Yeah, the clouds over there.
Oh, those ones?
It's the clouds over here.
All right, let's walk to the plane.
Okay.
Hey, by the way, look, check out our cracks,
look
guys.
at our cracks.
Look at our beautiful cracks.
They're super nice.
You know, we know you come here for two things, the cracks and, never mind, I give up. You didn't come for the cracks, but we did mow the lawn.
Yeah.
Hey, look at that. We even crashed it. So we know what the low voltage alarm is. It's a pulsing voltage alarm, which is not uncommon.
And you're not going to have much time after you're pulsing.
And 0 damage as usual and as expected. This thing is awesome, guys.
Yeah.
I want to see it on a different battery. Why don't we get a different battery and let's just try it again, okay? All right, so we're going to keep flying. We've got this from our eSheen E130 battery, which happens to be a 2S 700 milliamp hour. Just to, full disclosure, we are just a little bit on the tail heavy side, but that's okay. It'll be a little pitchy, if anything. And yes, I did hook up my lanyard because honestly, there's not a great place to hang on to this when you're just holding it. So I want to try this again. We were racking our brains. We think the reason that we're not getting signal is because of clouds. So we're going to take off and see how this does with the smaller battery. So far, so good. I want to see just how slow it can go, because honestly, it's doing amazing. Tail heavy planes typically fly once, but that's not always true. As you get a little bit more skilled at your piloting, then tail heavy planes can actually be used as a tool, particularly in sailplane environments. Okay, going to stabilization only now. A little bit of wind from left to right. We're flying into it right now. Here's full throttle. That is a dinky battery for a relatively big size plane, I think. The 850 milliamp Predator drone was at 2.6, or Predator pack was at 2.6 and some change per cell when we went inside. That thing was spent, and it was warm too. 25C pack might be a little bit on the lacking side the way we were flying. And full disclosure, it is not calm right now. We have a little bit more wind than we did before.
Yep.
But it's doing okay. It's not like phenomenal. I wouldn't want to fly it this way all the time. But as you can see, upside down flight and everything, it'll do it all. A little bit of down pressure to get it to fly upside down. Probably 10%, just to kind of keep it there. And it does pretty good. It's not hard to fly upside down, which is pretty good for a beginner ready to fly plane. I mean, guys, this plane is impressive. Not enough power to come out of it that way. You know what that must be? That must be some sort of a voltage warning. That beep we keep hearing.
That would make sense.
Because every time I'm under high load, it's like a current warning or something, I wonder.
I did not read the whole manual. I don't remember anything about beeping.
Hey, you want to try some grass ops real quick for people?
Yeah, sure.
I'm sure some people are wondering, so that means if you want to come forward, yeah, that's probably about right.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. So we're going to try in the sod here, guys.
Oh, okay.
Next to this hose is a pretty good sod. Oh, dang it. I missed it, guys. That's kind of embarrassing. Well, I did a touch and go. Okay, we're going to come in here and try from the other direction so we're not landing with the wind like a idiot. It finds the pavement no matter what. So
I think you're going to nose it over, though.
No, you're not going to nose it over. It's a tricycle. But the thing is, it's not got enough power to get through the grass. So I think if you're going to be flying in tall grass, or even remotely tall grass, I would say you're probably not going to be flying in it. Ooh, look what I did. I popped my wheel out. I want to show them what happened. When I did that touch and go, if you want to call it that, also known as a crash, this thing popped out. So I'm just going to realign it. See, on the yoke, super easy. All right, here we go. Let's take off again. Folks, that is a dinky battery that we're flying on. You notice how quiet it is? Mm-hmm. I know it's hard to pick up on that when you're around me. Mm-hmm. Guys, I must say, this thing is actually a great flying plane. It's not going to have the excitement that you're going to get from the Carbon Z 150T, but you also have a lot less money tied up in it, and you're not going to want to fly a $600 to $700 plane when you're brand new, not unless you've got lots of cash sitting around. And even if you have a lot of cash sitting around, I wouldn't recommend it because you'll end up crashing it and you'll be a one and done for sure. And if you've got that kind of cash, we need you in the hobby, buying stuff. Because that's really kind of how we keep the hobby profitable for these companies. I only missed that puddle by like an inch.
But is this a first plane?
Yeah, I would say. Oh, I did that. Did I hit the nose gear again?
Did you?
I want to go check it. Let's try it like doing an actual good landing here. It's still turning.
Yeah, it's a little...
Why is it wonky?
Cockeyed.
What?
Cockeyed?
Oh, look. I broke it. I bent it. There's a metal piece in there. I bent it. Well, whatever. I feel bad about that, guys, but don't do touch and wince. Maybe that was on our first landing when we ran out of battery.
Oh, could have been.
So what do you think of this thing, camera crew?
I'm pretty impressed.
I am too. I'm let down about the GPS. I was really hoping to see it do some crazy thing where it actually turned around and came home. I just don't like that feature because I feel like there's too much left to chance.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing I said with the Carbon Cub 1.3 from Horizon, you know, which is a much higher price point. But let's get real, guys. People ask me all the time, hey, how do you set up the GPS? I don't know. I don't care. I'm not going to do it because I think it's a waste of time. I have 2 of them sitting in my house. I won't set them up. I'm not going to waste my time.
It could be weather right now, so we should try it on a clear day,
we really should.
Which it's been clear for like ever.
I tell you what, this thing is sweet though. But, I mean, look at the landing, look at the ground handling. Compare that to any other UMX that we've dealt with. If you get away from like, I'm thinking of the Aero Commander. I'm saying it wrong. It's a twin engine. Gosh, why can't I think of it? Yeah, the red and white one. Aero Commander?
Yeah.
That one had good ground handling because it had some robust landing gear. What's another one? The J3 Cub had good landing gear. Sport Cub S had okay landing gear.
Yeah.
But let's get right down to it. This is a bigger size class too, so it's not really UMX. But the flight characteristics are consistent with what we're experiencing in the UMX lineup, which is really good actually. So I would say that this plane is a great plane. I would say it's definitely good for beginners, but I'm going to tell you the same thing with this FMS offering as I do with any other Horizon or Banggood or whatever. Don't plan on return to home working. Plan on it not working and get help from a competent pilot if you can. If you really can't, and I mean you really actually can. I'm not talking about just watching our awesome videos, which is very helpful, and it really is, guys. If you're new to the hobby, following along through these builds and things like that, you'll pick up things that you didn't realize. And that's not to toot my own horn. We had to work through a lot of this stuff without help, and that sucked. So, but we also had help for a lot of other things. We had people we could go and ask, and of course, if you have a hobby shop or something like that that you go to, you can ask for help there too. But that being said, this plane is really nice looking, 1. It's very light, but not weak, 2. Number 3, it doesn't use a overly expensive pack, which is nice, the flight pack. It's got a brushless motor, which means you're getting lots of flight time on it. I have no clue about these servos. They look so small. I have very little confidence in a 1.9 gram servo lasting forever. But I can tell you this, the thing flies good. So if it flies good, you're not constantly fighting trim adjustments, then as far as I'm concerned, what difference does it make? It's working.
And your first plane doesn't last forever. Fly it until you kill it and then get the next plane.
And then fix it 50 times.
Learn how
repeat.
to fix it.
I don't think it's even going to be that bad. Plus, these wing struts really do support the wings nicely.
Yeah.
I'm actually thinking the wing struts are going to be the detriment to a lot of you pilots, because really what you need is a little bit more flex. This is a pretty firm plane. Like, it doesn't flex a lot. Now, that being said, it does flex some. I think where people are going to get in trouble with this plane is, 1, they're going to return to home and they're going to lose orientation. They're going to be like, well, I guess there it is over there. The neighbor gets it now.
Yeah.
Don't let that happen, guys. How would you feel if you were just chilling out in your backyard and a plane flew and hit your grill? I mean, I would go play with it, but I mean, normal people wouldn't do that, okay? Also, it is cloudy, so let's just say for now, this video is probably part of our overall Unbox build and radio setup, like they always are. We're gonna have to wait until it's not cloudy so that we can show it working, because maybe it works phenomenal. Maybe our opinion is totally screwed up because of that. But you have to know that if it's cloudy, and it's not like it's thick clouds.
No,
I mean,
it's not
look,
crazy.
you can see blue through them. Mm-hmm. It's like Simpson clouds. That's what I call this.
Yeah.
Look at those birds up there. Can you see those guys? So I was flying a helicopter, story time interlude, guys. So we were flying a helicopter today, a Blade 230S, okay? You're not gonna believe me when I tell you this. This is really cool. So I was flying it around, and I've been practicing a lot because I feel like I'm an inferior helicopter pilot. Which, by the way, FMS, if you have helis, send helis too. So I got to fly in, and I was doing crazy things. I'm like, wow, this is super cool. And of course, I had my kid there watching me, and he was like, wow, that's really cool. And next thing you know, I put it in safe, and I didn't quite have enough authority to bring it back, and I went and visited some trees. I'm not going to point at exactly which one, but it was not here. And so we got into our super ultra spy outfits, and we went and retrieved it like Black Hawk Down. It was just like that movie, except for the death and destruction and abandoned people. But other than that, it was like literally the exact same movie. So we went and got it. Of course, it was off camera. Those birds were getting all up in my business when I was flying that helicopter, and it was hilarious because I was out there, you know, it's like zoom, 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 and like, oh my God, boy, I'm about to crash it. And the helicopter's swinging around up here, and every time I would get aggressive, all these birds would swarm the thing. It was hilarious. And unusually, the camera crew let us down big time on that one. But she did get into the super spy outfit to help me retrieve it, just like in Black Hawk Down.
Did they wear green polka dotted rain boots?
Yes. That's what they wore in the movie, I think. It's been a while since I saw it. Anyway, okay, so story time over.
Back to the plane. Back to
the plane. The Ranger 850 millimeter. Awesome plane. Yes, it's not as good as the Carbon Z Cessna 150T, obviously, since the motor cost as much as this whole thing. Ooh, something just chirped. I wonder if the GPS found it. Let's see what happens when I press the return home. Okay, so it's pulling up. That's the panic button. I don't think the GPS is on, because if we were on GPS, this light would be flashing right now. It would be slow flashing, and then it would be fast flashing. Or no, it'd be solid in auto level. So without further ado, hopefully this video has been informative and helpful in some way. And we trust that it really has been. The build was very simple.
Very.
I mean, it was like a nothing of a video. So that being said, if you want to watch that, stay tuned. We always put that at the end. If you're new to the channel, first of all, welcome. We have a huge audience that loves watching me make fools of myself, and the camera crew does a great job of filming it. Also, we will teach you some things as we put the planes together, and we really do enjoy it. It's a very fun way for us to enjoy each other's company, and you're now part of the clan. So thank you for being part of the clan. And also, if you want to help support us in our efforts to bring you more radio controlled experience, the best and easiest way is to look in the video description below and say you love this plane. And if you don't love this plane, don't buy it, okay? Buy something else. But check the video description. There's a link. When you buy it, these guys send us a small commission, and then we use that to fund our channel. And then you pay the same price, no extra, no premium. You get all your benefits that you would normally get if you bought it any other way. And then basically we get a small commission. Now, you doing that's not gonna make it a big deal, but if there's like 100,000 people that do it, then that helps fund our channel. So that's how we do that. Anyway, also there's lots of other planes down there. If you don't like doing that system and you think somehow it's gonna make our review unpure, like we're gonna come in here and tell you how great this thing is when it's a turd. I mean, we just showed the GPS not working. I don't know what else you want us to do. I just broke the landing gear. What else do you want me to do? Do you want me to throw it on the ground and stomp on it? I love the thing. It flies great. Look at this. This thing flies great, guys. Look at this. I'm gonna just take off again, just for fun. There's a hand launch. So anyway, what I'm getting at is, the whole point is, we love reviewing these things. I legitimately love airplanes. I've loved them since I was a kid. And if I could have had this plane as a kid, I would have literally killed to have something this cool when I was a kid. I literally would have killed to have something this awesome. Okay, guys? And look at this. Now, I have hundreds of them in my basement, and it's awesome. It's like a lifelong dream. So bringing it to you and sharing that excitement is just what I like to do, and you'll be helping to support us if you buy from the links below. If you don't like that, if you just hate that concept, Patreon. If you hate Patreon taking fees and keeping your money from going into our back pockets, do PayPal. Anyway, that's advertisement out, but this plane is sweet. I really genuinely do think it's good. Is it as good as the Sport Cub SUMX? It's gonna fly a lot more conditions. It's gonna fly when it's windier.
Yep.
It's a little bit bigger. It's a little bit stronger. It has a brushless motor. I literally flew the motor out of my Sport Cub SUMX 7 or 8 or 9 times in a row. I mean, like every week I was burning out a motor. That's how bad it was. So to be frank, having a brushless motor would have saved me a lot of time. I ended up making my Sport Cub S into what I called the Spaboo, because I had a Haboo UMX 180 that I killed. Then I took the board out, put it in there, used the brushless motor from another plane, and we made that thing a brushless plane. And I flew the wings off of it more than one time, probably 20 times.
Yep.
So to answer my own question, is this as good as the Sport Cub SUMX? I think the Sport Cub SUMX safe works better than this safe. The auto leveling in this is not as robust. I think the panic feature works a little bit more seamless on the Horizon. But to be perfectly frank, I don't really recommend using panic either, because when you let go, it keeps going that direction, even if that direction is right into your siding, or to your wife, or to your kid, or your dog, or whatever it is, or your neighbor, whatever it happens to be. Hopefully you're not flying around those things, because that would be bad. Anyway, getting back to the point, is it better than the Sport Cub S? I don't know. It's kind of a preference thing. It's a bigger plane. It's probably in similar price points. You'll have to kind of judge that in your own budget considerations. I think this plane beats the Sport Cub in a lot of different ways. But this plane is probably more like the Mini Apprentice, right? Excuse me, not the Mini Apprentice. This would be more like the, what am I trying to say? The Mini Aero Scout. The Mini Aero Scout, it's one of the few Horizons that I give a thumbs down to. That being said, this compared to that, this all day long.
Yep. For sure.
This compared to the 1.2 meter Apprentice, which is another 50% bigger, the Mini 1.2 Apprentice is what you should get. So, like I said in all of our videos, we want to bring you the best RC experience that you can get. That's not to say that we aren't reviewing this plane for FMS. They sent it to us, obviously. But we are not doing this in a basement. It's the only plane we've ever seen. No, there's hundreds of them in our basement while we do it. So stay tuned. We'll watch the unbox, build, and radio setup together. And when I say radio setup, I mean like we turn it on.
Yeah.
Because this is a ready to fly. We did more steps in this radio setup than we do in most, for the simple fact that we had to label. We labeled the buttons because I didn't want to guess when I was out here. And look how small this is. If you're talking about throwing this in the car, you know, bringing it so that you can fly after work or something like that, it would be very good for that, because look how stinking small the thing is. One thing, oh, you see that? You see how that was stuck? My stick was stuck like that. I don't know if you guys could see that. See?
Oh, yeah.
It's physically stuck. Okay? So if you're looking for complaints, there's definitely some minor complaints. I would call that like a non-issue in this price point, okay? Now, if that happened on my NX8, I'd be pissed, you know? But reality is what it is. I mean, this is a ready-to-fly transmitter. FMS, good job. Stay tuned. Unbox, build, and radio setup next.